Why talk about losing your job? And how do we work with the fear of losing our job? We have heard about this in the last months, and we hear about it all the time. This fear of the next shoe is about to drop, or I'm going to not make my quota, or I'm going to lose my job. How do we work with this? Well, the first thing to notice is that it's a thought that's happening right here between my ears. So that's something that gives me leverage already, because I can now figure out what do I do with this. And when I give in to this thought between my ears, I notice that I become small and my resourcefulness diminishes. And that's exactly what I'm really afraid of, is to lose my own creativity. So whether I actually lose my job or whether I keep my job, the one thing that I'm really committed to keeping is my own resourcefulness. So when I'm afraid of losing my job or a project or a quota, whatever it is, I'm thinking about how do I cultivate my resourcefulness and put that to work. Carson, what do you think?
When I think about taming the fear of losing my job, I think about the fact, first and foremost, that the fear will always be there to some degree. And what that tells me is that because I fear that, it means I value it. And because I value it, I want to continue to grow my proficiency in it. See, the way I view this is that if I build my confidence around my ability to execute in my job, I can quell that fear. It's never going to completely go away because it will always be hanging over me. There's a lot of things that I can't control that are relative to, keeping a job and surviving and thriving in that job. So I choose to focus on controlling the things that I can control, the relationships that I have, the resources that I understand, the knowledge and the intel that I gather. And if I can control those things well enough so that I can show up to serve my customers, my team, everyone that I touch, and I can work to deliver wins for everyone that I touch, those are the things that are going to give me the best probability of thriving at my job. Ultimately, I can control that. And whatever the outcome is, I can look back and have no regrets. I'll know that I did everything that I could from an input perspective to give myself the best outcome. If I grow my confidence in the ability to execute, I will be able to quell that fear in a way that it will not be able to dominate my day. How about you, Rick?
It's interesting. My fear of losing my job isn't really a fear of losing my job. It's a fear that I can't find a better one. Because if I really believed I could find a better one, I wouldn't be worried about losing this job at all. So it's really, Carson, I think what you were just touching on, it goes to the fear that I'm not good enough to get another job, and that somehow this job makes me who I am. So when I think about how I deal with this fear, I sit with this fear. It sits next to me in the form of my job. And as I think about it, I look at my job and I start thinking, this is a massive job. I'm so lucky that I have it. And wow, how did I get this? And it's really important. And then I look at it a little more closely, and it's just a job. And then I look a little more closely, it's actually just a job that I don't like in several ways. And I could think of a lot of ways that I could have a better job. And you know what? That job isn't me. I was me before this job, and I'll be me after this job. And my capabilities are not dictated by this job. They're not made by this job. I am who I am, independent of this job. And then it kind of moves to a different place. This job is just a thing I have right now. And I'll have another thing tomorrow. Maybe it'll be this job. Maybe it'll be a different job. Maybe I won't need to work. Maybe whatever. I'll still be who I am.